Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Joe Spivak. He's a defensive lineman out of Northwestern. Nice to have you on, sir.
Thank you for having me on, Jimmy. And hey, don't shame me now. Fullback too. Got some fullback reps the past couple of years, so D tackle, fullback, whatever they need.
Well, dude, I mean, obviously you're a football player.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost. So, I mean, whatever the hell you want to do, call yourself, wherever a coach wants to put you, whether it's D-line, fullback, whatever they want to do with you. I mean, obviously you're a football player first. So,
yes, sir.
Tell me your story, buddy. Tell me maybe where you grew up and how you ultimately got there to Northwestern.
Yeah. No, I'm from the Chicagoland area. Grew up about 45 minutes southwest of the city and 45 minutes southwest of Evanston and Northwestern. So right in the heart of Big Ten country, and just always loved the Cats. Always loved Big Ten football, especially. That's what we watched every week. And being close to Northwestern and Evanston, me and Coach Fitz still like to joke that I absolutely set the record for most youth football camps ever attended. I think I hit just about everyone from second grade on. And so I love the Cats, and I can remember being at one of those youth camps and probably about fourth or fifth grade and standing there, all sweaty afterwards and looking at my dad and telling him that I was going to play football on Ryan Field one day. I was going to play there one day. And, come high school, I was super blessed to have an awesome experience with recruiting. If there's any young high schoolers listening, enjoy that time in your life. People are asking to pay for your college and for you to come play a game. It's a special, special time. But, I was fortunate enough to get about, 15, 20 D1 offers, but Northwestern never did. I was at their camp, at least I would do their individual camp and then their showcase camp every year. And Coach Fitz was very transparent with me as we got later on, was just like, hey, Joe, we'd love to have you, but it's going to be a walk-on opportunity. And despite the offers, knew where I had to be, was blessed to be in a position that I could do that, and walked on to Northwestern. And then the rest was kind of history. We can get into more about that, but wouldn't trade the last 5 years for anything.
So I'm assuming at one point or another you did get that scholarship, right?
Yes, sir.
So talk to me about actually when that happened.
Yeah, that was after. It was funny. It was after my sophomore season. We were on winter break. We had just come back from the Holiday Bowl, so we had a week or two off, and I was sitting and watching TV or whatever with my mom and my dad, and I got an email from our compliance lady and was like, hey, Joe, fill out the attached forms. Congratulations. I'm like, what? And then I looked and I had missed a text from Coach Fitz that just said, congrats, buddy. I'm like, what's happening right now? So me and my mom and dad would jump up. I'm like, is this what I think it is? Call Fitz. I'm like, is this what? Oh my God. So fun moment with me and my parents. But yeah, that was after sophomore season.
Awesome. So, I mean, again, it just seemed like you were destined to be there at Northwestern, albeit coming in as a walk-on, eventually found your role there in getting that scholarship. So you mentioned there a little bit, I mean, you have played a little bit on the offense as well, but generally speaking, where are you lining up there on the defensive line?
Yeah, so I would the past 2 years, I started in my senior season, my true senior season, I was a starting 3-tech pretty much all year, still played a good amount of shade and a little bit of zero, but then last year I was primarily a 2-eye and a shade. So anywhere between the threes mostly. We got low on some guys. I knew the defense well, so I jump in at a 5-tech here and there, but that's definitely not my suit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little out there, for a guy like you. I mean, I want to keep you as interior as possible, yeah, I believe. So
310 pounds, we don't need him off the edge. We're all right.
Sure. With a guy like you, perhaps of your stature, is there any person in the league that maybe you try to model your game after, look up to, or a fan of?
Absolutely. I mean, be remiss not to say, first and foremost, shout out the legend who I wore 93 my first 4 years at Northwestern. John Randall, growing up, Hall of Famer. He was an undersized defensive tackle. And what just stood out to me was his motor. Absolute. The way he played ball is the way that football is supposed to be played. Just absolutely tenacious. And also no one talks smack better than John Randall. He patented it and he was the best. I was trying to bring the enthusiasm. He did too. But currently in the league, I love guys like Poona Ford out there killing it. Just a lower defensive lineman like myself that just holds the point and also gets active on pass rush. He obviously jumps off the page. Look at Kalen Saunders with the Chiefs. Those are two guys that I absolutely love watching. Obviously, everyone says Aaron Donald, but this year way more. I watched the guy next to him, which was Greg Gaines. Those are three guys that I really look up to and want to be that person for a team.
Interesting. Obviously, mentioning a guy like John Randall takes me back a little ways.
Yeah, let's go now.
John Randall was just an animal, man. Like actually on and off the field, man. That guy was certainly a character, and I kind of get those vibes with you a little bit. I mean,
regulators mount up, baby. That was him all the time. He was absolutely the best. I could not put a number on the amount of times I've watched John Randall's NFL mic'd up on YouTube. I think I watched it before every youth game, every high school game, and just about every college game too. He's the best.
Yeah, the other thing too is, dude used to paint his face and stuff. Are you doing that as well? Like, is that kind of part of your routine?
I'm not a big face paint guy. When I was youth football, I was all over, but I don't know. Was never a big eye black guy for me.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously he took it really overboard,
Oh yeah, he'd be going up above the eye and everything.
Gotcha. Joe, realized that you were a team captain there as well. So talk to me about you as a leader for that defense and really what kind of leadership skills you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just being a captain, wearing the number 1 jersey at Northwestern was an honor of all honors. Like I said, I was on cloud 9 just walking into that place, and I knew that I wanted to prove myself. So then those 2 honors at the end of my career, being a captain, getting the number 1 jersey, I mean, that was just validation from the people who meant the most to me, which was my teammates. So absolutely. So still to this day, will always be so humbled by that. But when it comes to my leadership, I think what stands out is my consistency and the attitude I bring. It's real simple. My dad always raised us on something that he got from Mike Ditka, which was attitude, character, and enthusiasm. That's ACE, Jimmy. And that's just what I try to bring, is that consistent attitude and especially that consistent enthusiasm. You see that with a guy like John Randall, like you said, everywhere he went, that enthusiasm followed him. It was real, it was authentic, and guys feel that and guys respond to that. And I believe that if you asked my teammates in my time at Northwestern, whether they were a 5th year when I got here or a 1st year when I was a 5th year, I think they would all say that I was consistent in that attitude and enthusiasm.
Cool. Let's go ahead and just chat about some of your teammates too while we're at it.
Sure, yeah, let's go. We'll dig in on them a little bit.
Who there at Northwestern is coming up in the ranks, man? Like who's going to be there next season?
Absolutely.
Who do we need to look out for?
You got to look out for on the D-line, Adetomiwa Adebare. Just an absolutely tenacious football player. I should start by saying that he's one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met in my life. He's a genius off the field. He's a genius on the field in the way that he knows and studies the defense, and he just plays the football the way it should be played. He's tenacious. He's all over the field. Pop on his tape from last year and he'll pop off the tape. He's really, really a special player, consistent in his rundowns, and consistently he is the guy that last year, even when we had down year, every team is making sure they're double teaming him on 3rd down, at least double teaming, because he's going to get to the quarterback. Him, and then I got to shout out my man, Bryce Gallagher, the man in the middle. Just once again, a tenacious football player. Gets downhill and loves to play ball old school.
Gotcha. Obviously, sitting there in the Big Ten, you're facing really some of the toughest competition in college football. A lot of great games that you've been a part of. Any of those moments that you could perhaps share with us? Like, what's that one game or memory that's going to stick with you more or less for a lifetime?
Absolutely. I mean, they're all so special, especially when you grow up dreaming about it. And obviously, I mean, like the Big Ten championships, the bowl games, those are what pop off the page. I think about playing in Wrigley this year. Obviously, it was a tough season for us. We didn't end up winning that game, but getting that experience of that special aura in the city that I grew up next to, it was really special. But honestly, for me, it was so weird. I tell this story and I always think that I tell it all right, but also I don't know if it resonates with people because it was such a personal moment. But I just remember, I'll never forget in the Big Ten championship 2 years ago, we're playing against a very strong Ohio State team, obviously, as they always are. And we're lined up and they love their outside zone to the boundary. And our three technique was our boundary D tackle that year. So I'm starting a three tech and they're lined up back, or believe back was in an ace position, thinking outside zone, thinking outside zone. They're on the hash. I'm the three tech. I'm like, here we go. And it was unbelievable the way that like this kind of anxiety, this stress of, oh, it's coming, just was like literal relaxation in a split second. It was like time stopped with my hand in my stance. I was like, I'm literally back playing 4th or 5th grade football right now. This is just football against some other dudes, and I hope they run this freaking outside zone. And they did, and it was awesome, and we shut it down. Once again, we don't need to talk about the rest of that game. They obviously got their run game going, but it was a really cool moment in that game that it was just football, and it was beautiful. I'll never forget that moment of countless other more spectacular ones, but it was a really cool moment.
Awesome. I mean, obviously a guy who, dude, I know you've grown up playing the game of football. So, I mean, what makes football so special to you? Like, why do you like it so much?
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously, everyone loves knocking heads, run some fullback, running some ISO, whatever it is. Give me a double team. Like, that's just healthy for the soul, I believe. But more than anything, we'll always say that the best part of football is easily hands down the relationships. I don't think a single guy y'all have on your show or a single guy who's ever played the game will say that the locker room, the guys, the team isn't the best part of the game. Football, I have my uncles who I love dearly, but then I have my uncles, which are men that my father played college football with and that are absolutely family like no other. And I've found that in my time at Northwestern. It's a pretty special thing to, grow up idolizing these men that you're calling your uncle that aren't actually your uncle, but they are because of this game. And then to come Northwestern and gain those for yourself. It's unbelievable what my roommates, my teammates mean to me because of the game and the highs and the lows we've gone through.
Gotcha. Talk about your relationship with your coaches as well, if you don't mind. Like, is there maybe a
Sure.
lesson you learned from one of your coaches that still sticks with you today?
Gosh, that's a great question. I mean, I will say, so my father was my offensive and defensive line coach from about 4th grade up to senior year of high school. So I could go on. We'd need at least 4.5 days probably to get all the lessons from him. But then, I mean, I'm so thankful for my coach at Northwestern. Coach Lawn was great, but especially Coach Fitz. It's so hard to narrow down one lesson. I'd say what stood out to me at my time at Northwestern was, because obviously my first 2 years were in solid bowl games. Then we fell off a little bit, then get back to the Big Ten championship for the second time in my career. Then we fell off a little bit again. So it was kind of up and down, kind of a roller coaster. And I just say, this isn't necessarily from a specific coach, but just like the way that consistent hard work pays off into becoming who you want to be. That's what the game's all about. Is you're going to have your highs, you're going to have your lows. But when you're doing it with a group that you love so much, it's so fulfilling and it turns you into really the person you want to be.
Awesome. Just love that. I mean, obviously, a lot of guys, really helping you, become like, the man that you are, starting again from your pops, early on.
Yeah.
So, I was trying to look up some stuff with regards to your pro day. And really what I was able to look up on your pro day was, I don't know if you really had much of one, because I mean, I heard that you weren't able to do everything fully, but talk about your experience at your pro day overall, if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's right. There was, if you were looking at things from the Northwestern Pro Day, that was a train wreck for me. I popped my hammy on my first 40-yard dash, just was getting out way too explosively, was flying, and the hammies couldn't take it. That's all right. I was able to run again, actually just a couple weeks later at the NIU Pro Day, so that was great. Those times are out there. But it was once again, you build up this day so much in your head. I can remember, being in 4th, 5th grade and going out after watching the combine, and then me and my dad going out to a field and running all the drills. So you build this day up so much in your head, and then it comes, and that happened for me. And it was a tough pill to swallow, but it was also, I'll say this past month and a half since that have happened have been a really awesome period of my life, figuring out that, okay, how blessed are you to have this opportunity still in front of you, to still have this NIU pro day, to still get a workout with the Bears, to still be at Northwestern. So once again, that day itself was tough, but I've learned so much from it, and I'm absolutely a better person and better football player because of that day.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, overcoming adversity is part of really what you know indicates character, and being able to pick yourself up and to continue going and work towards the next day, the next pro day.
Sure.
Certainly, shows that. Dude, let's go ahead. I want to kind of move on in our conversation.
Sure.
I want to know who this Spivak guy is, Joe Spivak, outside of this game of football. So, share a little bit about yourself and what you have going on in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think that Joe Spivak on the football field is about the same as Joe Spivak off the football field. I think I'm a little bit more reserved as far as headbutting people and physically going after things like that. But
That's a good thing.
yeah, I think that's healthy. Keep me out of prison. But I think I'm about the same guy. I've got really great things cooking right now. Like I mentioned, I'm still at Northwestern because of this COVID year. I didn't redshirt my freshman year, so I got this extra year of football because of COVID, which was awesome. And I got to get into a 1-year master's program at Kellogg Northwestern, which is an unbelievable school. I'm so blessed to be finishing that up. Also, only 7 weeks. It's been a grind, but we're fired up to be in the home stretch of that too. And then I don't know, we were chatting a little bit. I got some things cooking with another professional sports organization, a little bit different, but we're starting to look at some pro wrestling. I was blessed to benefit of the NIL offerings this year and struck an NIL deal with the WWE, which has been a dream of mine, and it's been something I've actually been pursuing for a couple of years now, and was just really blessed with the timing of getting this extra year and having NIL going on and being able to get in touch with the WWE.
I mean, you definitely come across as this guy with the sort of charisma that you could kind of, get in the ring, maybe work one of these promos like on the microphone, and just kind of having that sort of character. So, I'm assuming you kind of grew up being a fan of wrestling. Who is like that one guy that you were a fan of growing up?
Absolutely. First off, I got to shout out my childhood and still currently one of my best friends ever, Patrick Ladd. He is the one who turned me on to professional wrestling. My first love was amateur wrestling. I wanted to be an Olympic wrestler. That was my first sport. And he was like, "Hey, Joe, have you ever seen this?" And that was pretty sweet too. So love Pat Ladd, love pro wrestling, love the WWE. Then when it comes to, like you said, promos and having that it factor, I always default to Mick Foley. I don't care if it's Mankind, Cactus Jack, or Dude Love. I don't think anybody did promos like Mick Foley. The psychoticness of him, the funniness that he was able, the humor, I should say, but just Mick Foley 100 times over. Obviously, he's the hardcore legend. Nobody will ever do what he did in the ring again, but it's going to be top
outside of the
two.
ring.
Or outside, yeah, I mean, off the cage if we need to get into specifics.
Exactly.
But also, what he did with a mic was unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely a guy who had multiple, personalities that he was able to, kind of work off of during the whole process. So,
absolutely had a couple screws loose for sure.
Oh, screws loose, screws put in, screws taken out. I mean, that's just kind of what you got from him. So, who are you, a fan of these days? I mean, obviously, again, being a guy who sort of grew up, wanting to maybe be an amateur wrestler. A lot of amateur wrestlers, guys that have done that sort of thing, they've really panned out in the WWE. I mean, you're talking about guys like Lesnar, Lashley, freaking Ziggler. There are so many guys that have gone that path. So who nowadays that's currently in the ring? Who are you a big fan of?
Absolutely. I mean, I gotta shout out big Otis Dosovich, the man himself. I love Otis. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times, and he's one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met. Love to see the big man in there. But I mean, there's just such good talent in there. Obviously, when you see Brock Lesnar doing what he's doing as consistently as he's been doing it. It's unbelievable to watch. When I think about guys with a mic, I look at Seth Rollins, who obviously not just with a mic, he's unbelievable in the ring too, but his mic skills are second to none. Really, really just an unbelievable organization. And everyone I've had the pleasure of meeting have been so down to earth, which is really cool when you see this, the product that is so in your face and so intense and loud. And then you get backstage and shake some hands and talk to people and they're just willing to help, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. I mean, it's going to be interesting as time develops, like where you're actually going to end up. I mean, I do know that you have opportunities, with the WWE and can perhaps pursue that. Dude, I can
Yeah.
totally see you doing that and really excelling. I mean, I'm sitting
Appreciate
here
it.
in my
Appreciate it.
mind right now thinking about a moment with like maybe you and Kevin Owens in the ring at the same time. That would be like,
I like that.
iconic.
I like that.
But I mean, also you have opportunities with some local teams, some teams that might be interested in you. So as we go ahead and wind down this interview, I want you to take one last moment and really just do one last promo to all these scouts who might be watching this video, and I want you to tell them why they need to take a chance on you as a football player. And what you would bring to the table and what kind of teammate you would be. So go ahead and hit them with that pitch.
Absolutely. I mean, it falls back on what we talked about, leadership, the attitude, character, enthusiasm. I got that tattooed on my chest. Everyone in my family's got that tattooed somewhere because it's real, because it's consistent. And that's who I am every day. And because of that, I will be able to be that hard-nosed defensive tackle that comes in every day excited to take on double teams and bury himself in there so that guys can run free. And in addition to that, too, I'm a 6 foot flat, 315-pound kid that can move. And I'm excited to prove that to people. And I think my tape absolutely shows that. But if that's not enough for you, I'll prove it to you every single day.
Gotcha. I mean, I know that you do bring intensity on and off the field. So, I mean, there are some guys excelling, obviously, that are of your stature in the NFL. But, dude, if you decide to pursue other things like the WWE, I mean, I think that the sky's the limit for you. So I do wish you best of luck with everything that you got going on. All right, bud?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so blessed to do interviews like this, but so blessed with the opportunities in front of me. Really, really, God's looking out for me. I'm excited to prove him right and prove guys like you right, too, because I just really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Once again, we got us Joe Spivak. He's defensive lineman out of Northwestern, so definitely check him out.